What's up, everyone? IG Live at 5, Ryan here, meeting with you again on another Wednesday. We're excited to be able to answer some of your questions. We're excited to do a Devo with you. So thanks for joining us. We got a lot of questions to answer today, and I see Jack has already joined us. What's up, Jack? So since Jack is with us, I'll answer the question he sent in first. So Jack asked us, would I rather be electrocuted for 10 seconds or would I rather be slapped 20 times? Now, I don't know what kind of choices I had to make to where that's the two options I'm presented and I have to choose one. But I would really start questioning my life choices if that's the only options I have in front of me. But you have to think about this. 10 seconds might not seem like that long of a time, but being electrocuted for 10 seconds would seem like eternity. But on the other hand, who is slapping me? Is Brock Lesnar slapping me 20 times? I might not survive. So I don't have an answer for that. Neither. My choice is neither. I would rather neither one of those scenarios work out. All right. Haley's here in the office with us today. Haley's question was this: if God sneezes, what do I do? If God sneezes, what do I do? So this is what I imagine the scenario being. God sneezes, and then you just hear, "Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul." So that's my answer. I would imagine that's what happens if God sneezes. All right. Let's see. Let's keep going. All right. So Hannah Walker asked, what is my favorite part about being a youth pastor? What's my favorite part about being a youth pastor? That is a great question. There are a lot of great things that go into being a youth pastor, a lot of great things that go in to getting to hang out with students. But I would say just being able to have a little bit of influence in somebody else's life and really start to see them grow and change. Especially, I've been at First Baptist now for several years, and so I've seen students come in as seventh graders, nervous and shy and awkward and immature, and then boom, 5, 6, 7 years later, they've grown, they've matured, they're killing it for God. And so I just enjoy seeing growth in people stepping up and living in the platform that God has given them. And so just being a small part of that journey, that's my favorite part of being a youth pastor. So good question, Hannah. What's my favorite part? Gracie McEarl asked, why is there a different person on each bill? So if you Google that question, they don't actually tell you. So I would say they put influential people in American history. If you go to any culture, any place in the world, they have, their government people, or they have important people in their country's history on their money. And so as far as our money, if you look at the different people who on it, it's all monumental people who's made a difference in American culture. I did not know this, but you actually have to be dead to get on our money. It's against the law, actually, for them to put people on money that's still alive. And so that's the best answer I can give you, Gracie. Nathan Lewis, we see Nathan's on with us. What's up, Nathan? He asked, again, I don't know what was up with these presidential questions, but, y'all must have been taking history classes together here recently or something. But he asked, was Abraham Lincoln trying to do good when he freed the slaves? I'm not a history buff, but I would imagine Honest Abe was trying to do the best he can. I will say this. I've heard some quotes that said that Abraham Lincoln, to let the Union win, would have freed the slaves if they would have won, or he'd have kept them slaved if it would have won. It seemed to me Abraham Lincoln more cared about the Union than he cared about actual slavery. He did say that he thought slavery was wrong and that he thought people deserved the right for freedom. But if I'm just going to look at history and be honest, I think Abraham Lincoln cared more about the Union than he cared about the necessary issue of slavery. Again, I'm not a history buff. That's outside of my wheelhouse. But that's the answer I'm going to say. He cared about the Union more than that actual issue. But hey, he did help emancipate slaves. So who am I to judge Honest Abe? Let's see. If money wasn't, so this is Allison. No. Yeah, Allison Bingham. She sent in this. If I was stranded on an island, what 3 items would I want with me? All right. I will have to read the real link, and I have not read that. Thanks for the suggestion there. So, if I was stranded on an island, what 3 items would I want with me? First one, life straw. If you've never heard of a life straw, I would get the 3-pack. They're $54.99, and you can drink like 10,000 gallons of water through one of these straws. It's like enough water to last you for 5 years. And so I would hope to have a 3-pack of these life straws, and it cleans and purifies dirty water for you. And so, I would want the life straw first. And then secondly, I would want some kind of device to help me make a fire. And so this life straw gives me water. The whatever device, some kind of blowtorch or something that could, not just matches if they get wet or they run out. So something to give me fire. Third, Bear Grylls. I mean, if I can have water and fire and then Bear Grylls protecting me, I'm surviving forever. So that's what I would want. 3 items on an island if I was stranded. Let's see. We've got a lot of questions, different. I think that's mainly all of them. I think one was sent in by, I think it was Nathan's podcast, so he's doubling up on some questions. The question was sent in, can you sin in heaven? And so that question is tough. I've heard it explained in a couple of different ways. I heard it explained that on the front end, you would want to say, and I would want to say, my gut reaction would be no, right? Because it's heaven. And we wouldn't have the ability to sin. But then you start thinking, well, then that starts infringing on our idea of free will. And so I think that we can make choices in heaven, but I think since we are on the other side of this earth, we do not have external forces tempting us to evil. And then in heaven, we will, I think, have a better understanding of sin and its nature and its fall. And without the external forces and our understanding in our redeemed bodies of what sin is and what it does to us, I think that while we could have the opportunity to sin, I do not think that we will have the desire, and I do not think we'll make the choice to sin. And so that's my answer there. All right, so that's all the questions, man. We've been excited to be able to answer questions each and every week. We hope to continue to go live through this Lucifer sinned pre-Jesus, and all of the redemption, and Lucifer was not a redeemed body, would be my answer to that. So that's the questions we have today. We're hoping, and we've been praying, and we've been planning to meet again in person. But with all of the different sicknesses and things, our staff met today. We've been trying to look forward to when we can make plans. But as all of you know, I mean, each and every day, it seems like there is progression with announcements and details coming out. But it's hard for us to plan because we just really don't know what the future is going to look like. So, here in Tennessee, they've started lifting some bans and restrictions and things like that. And so restaurants are opening up, different things. But I just want to say this. Tennessee is one of the leading states opening back up. I traveled to Birmingham last week, this past few days. Birmingham has a law where if you were caught out in public without a face mask, you could be ticketed and or arrested. And so while Tennessee is loosening up a lot around the country, there's still a lot of restrictions. And while you will start seeing other churches in our community meeting and doing things, we have a larger volume of people where we have to be careful and we have to be wise about how we do things. And so just remember those things as we are making decisions and as we're moving forward, because we as a staff want to be wise in how we move forward. And with all of that, we've been looking forward to this summer. What can we do this summer? And I wish that we had some more clear answers about what this summer will look like. But as of today, we do have an announcement about this summer. and that is that the Strength to Stand summer camp has been canceled. They canceled the Strength to Stand summer camp because, one, we don't know what the Florida restrictions will be by this summer as far as gatherings, as far as the beach, as far as how many people can be out, how many people can be in the same room. And so Strength to Stand, the Scott Dawson Evangelism Association, has canceled their summer camp. And so it's unfortunate, and we are going to do the best we can to rebound from this and give us the best summer we can. But again, we don't know exactly what we're going to be able to do until a little closer to time. So that's an announcement that we're unfortunate to have to make today, but that's the one we have. So there's your questions. Thanks for joining us, asking those questions. I'm going to kind of pivot. The past few weeks, we've been talking about the idea of the average Joe. And so I want to look at the idea of nonsense. Have you ever been convicted or led or wanted to do something that people just looked at you and they're like, you're dumb. Why are you doing that? That's just a bunch of nonsense. Like, living for Jesus a lot of times seems like nonsense to other people. I'll never forget, in high school, my church went on mission trips every single summer. And in high school, we were going on one of these trips. We were going to be going in July. It was hot. And a majority of the things we would do on the mission trip was like construction work, roofing, those type of things. And so I had a friend who wanted me to go to the beach with him. And I told him, look, I can't, because I'm going to be at this mission, or I'm going to be on this mission trip, and we're going to be doing mission work. We're going to be working and all that. And they asked, well, how much money are you going to be making? And I said, well, I'm not going to be making any money. I'm actually paying hundreds of dollars to go and do this, to sleep on a school room floor, to shower in a shower trailer, and to work out in the hot July sun for a week putting on somebody's roof. And I just remember them looking at me and they were like, why would you do that? And, living for Jesus a lot of times seems like nonsense to the people around us. The Bible tells us that the cross is foolish to those who are perishing. Those outside of Jesus just don't understand why we would want to follow him. People outside of Jesus don't understand why we would want to make sacrifices, why we would want to submit our authority to somebody else. They want to be in control. And there's a guy in the Bible named Noah. And Noah's life, I think, could be characterized by the world around him as nonsense, because you got this dude building this big boat out in the middle of the desert when it's never rained before. And people are looking at him and they're like, bro, like, it's never even done this thing that you're saying is going to happen. And you're saying it's going to be bad enough that I'm going to die. And they thought he was crazy, but he heard from God. He knew his mission, and he was called by God to do a specific task. And we see that Noah is listed in the Hall of Fame of Faith in Hebrews 11. And this is what it says about Noah in Hebrews 11, verse 7. By faith, Noah, after he was warned about what was not yet seen and motivated by godly fear, built an ark to deliver his family. And by faith, he condemned the world and became an heir of the righteousness that comes by faith. Noah, even though his plan given to him seemed like nonsense to everybody around him, even though every single person told Noah that he was crazy, Noah trusted and followed God and his plan. Man, I don't know what God is calling you to do today. I don't know what a burden you have on your heart. Maybe it's for a friend that is just wild as it comes, and everybody around you is saying, why would you want to talk to that person about Jesus? You know how they are. You know how they act. That you know what they do. but you're like, you know what? God has called me to be their friend, and God has called me to share the gospel to them. That person that you share the gospel to might think, are you crazy? You're going to really tell me about that? Maybe you might think it's nonsense for you to even step up and live for Jesus. You might say, Ryan, do you know what I've done? Do you know who I am? Do you know my reputation? Do you know the mistakes? Man, God could never use me. I'll say this, Noah was not perfect. If you read right after the flood, Noah made some big mistakes in his life. But Noah is characterized by being a man of faith. Today, go out, and even if it might seem like nonsense to everybody else, trust in the plan that God has given you. God has commanded you, God has sent you to go and to share the gospel. And that command and commission has not stopped in the middle of this quarantine. So find a way today to share Jesus with somebody. Find a way today to talk to somebody about Jesus. Maybe it's sending them a snap or a text message. Maybe it's having a FaceTime with somebody and just saying, you know what, I've been praying for you, and this scripture verse has been encouraging to me. Or, hey, how about we go through this Bible study plan together? Or, hey, my youth group has a daily Devo every day at noon. How about we watch that and then talk about it? Whatever it is, man, come up with a way to share the gospel today. Your plan might seem like nonsense to the world, but I promise you it's important to God. Live in your plan today. We love you. We've been praying for you. We hope to connect again with you soon. We'll see you later.